Welcome to IBIS Weather. This is Sarah. This is the update for January 23rd, 2026. We are talking about Winter Storm Fern, who is making her official start today. You are looking at an actual, let me make this go live radar of what is going on. As you can see, Snow in snow is happening over there in Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma, and the Panhandle of Texas, of course, Colorado, New Mexico, even Utah and Arizona, and even a little bit of Nevada are experiencing some snow as well. With rain still primarily over West Texas, the southwestern Texas Panhandle, all the way into Dallas, Fort Worth, and Texarkana. We are expecting this snow and ice to grow throughout tonight, where it expand out into more into Oklahoma and a little bit into Texas, and then of course Arkansas, Nashville, Kentucky, and West Virginia, and North Carolina. So she is appearing to be on track with what the National Weather Service has been thinking. I am doing a video where we are kind of tracking what the models are showing, what future radar was showing, and then what actual radar different time periods is actually showing. There will be a video coming out of that. I do think that will be interesting, and I feel like we don't really have a lot of the historical data readily available. So if I can help contribute that, I will more than gladly do that. But again, this is the live radar for right now at 6:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 23rd, and she is ramping up as expected. I did want to also kind of touch on the watches, warnings, and advisory display. It's very similar to what we saw yesterday, pretty much the same actually. As you can see, again, big chunk of Texas, pretty much all of Oklahoma, pretty much all of Kansas, all of Missouri, all of Arkansas, uh, really all of Tennessee and Kentucky, West Virginia, and a good chunk of North Carolina, um, into South Carolina and Georgia are all having uh, winter advisories of some sort. The biggest is the pink area, which is, let's go ahead and click on this real quick. Oops, wrong thing. That would be the winter storm warnings. I believe the purple are watches, so those are also under the watches. So definitely a big chunk of the country. I mean, very high number of people are under some type of winter weather advisory going forward for the rest of this weekend. So that is something you don't see too often. Hopefully, we won't see it again anytime soon. However, there are some indicators that we may have a repeat come this upcoming weekend or into early February, which we'll touch on at the end of this video. Let's go ahead and look at the total snowfall model runs for GFS for today. This is the latest run for 6 p.m. So let's go ahead and start. So it's starting at 6 p.m. today, January 23rd. Not showing a whole lot of snow there, which is interesting when you look actually to what we have over here on the actual radar. We are starting to see some snow happening for a good part of the central part of the country. Let's see, go forward over here. So we can see here by midnight Saturday. So about 6 hours from now, we're definitely seeing more snow over there in the Southern Rockies, Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Kansas. Expanding out more by 6 a.m. Saturday, definitely going more into Texarkana, Arkansas, a little bit into northern Louisiana, and we just keep seeing it push more east with more snow definitely falling over there in the Oklahoma and Arkansas border, and just keeps growing and growing. By midnight Sunday, definitely going more into the Ohio Valley and Mid Atlantic regions. And just keeps going, pushing down a little bit more south into North Georgia. Keeps going, and you see those snow numbers adding up. Again, don't pay too much attention to some of the numbers it has here, or this is the model run, not the actual forecast. Pay attention to what the actual forecast is showing for you guys. And then it just continues on throughout for Mid Atlantic up to New England up until Tuesday morning. And then after that, pretty much all this area, including down to Florida, coastal Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and coastal Texas, even, will also be experiencing extreme cold weather, cold air, some places will be staying well below freezing for pretty much a majority of the lows of next week. Even all the way down there to coastal Georgia. Very well could also happen somewhat in Florida. So definitely cold air coming in. So this is just kind of the entryway of it, but still be a very miserable time and definitely has potential to shut down a large part of the country. Let's look at for the similar one for 12, since they haven't done the 6 p.m. one yet for the Euro and C. So if we look at for the 15Z, so this is around 3 o'clock. I would say this is pretty accurate in what we saw. I do have some photos on my Facebook and also a little bit here on YouTube, some in my shorts about some of the radar views we've had earlier today. Again, kind of tracking and documenting what has actually been happening versus, like I said, we're going to have a video comparing the model runs, then what actually happened. So we'll say this one does definitely look more like what we've actually seen. If we actually go back to the live radar, you'll even see that it's very accurate over there about North Texas. Let's go forward. Uh, Pretty accurate for about right now too. This is for 6 p.m. today, so around this time out, what the Euro was saying was going to happen. I would say pretty accurate again. Again, I do prefer the Euro over the GFS. It does seem to be a bit more good at predicting what will happen. Not as wild with its imagination as the GFS can be, so not surprised here. You start seeing some ice and snow building into Texas and Oklahoma. We'll go forward by midnight tonight into Saturday morning. Definitely starting to see more ice and snow in Oklahoma and Texas. And it just keeps going and going. By 6 a.m. Saturday, parts of Dallas will kind of have a mix of rain and sleet going forward, growing going forward over here. Not a whole lot of change in the day of September, not September, then the day of Saturday, January 24th. So during the day, we don't see a whole lot of change. Does get a little bit better throughout Saturday, possibly for Oklahoma a little bit, Texas, as it starts pushing east, but then it fills right back in, kind of like a second wave, probably from the moisture coming in from the Pacific and Gulf Coast. By 3 a.m. Sunday, definitely reaching all the way over into the mid Atlantic, mid South regions on the East Coast. We'll keep going forward. Definitely seeing more of it. Does show a lot more rain for, again, Alabama and Georgia and Louisiana and Mississippi, with some obviously snow and ice mixed in there for Arkansas, Louisiana, and Alabama and Tennessee. Um, Keep going forward. So about 6 p.m. Sunday, uh, basically just dealing with rain for a good part of the deep south, with a little bit of ice and snow kind of arcing around it for the mid Atlantic going up into close to New England, and just keeps on pushing up. Definitely looks more like a typical cold front you see during the summer months for the south off of this image of where you see it will just be rain, minus obviously the snow and ice. Of course, it'll still be cold, but that is what it's looking like. This is 3 a.m. Monday, and it continues to push off until for the rest of the day. So by 6 p.m. Monday, you'll be seeing basically just snow in New England at that point. And that's going into Tuesday. I have to share a little bit of the future radar because I do think it's interesting. So this is showing for today at 5 p.m. Um, I would say it's again the future radar here is pretty accurate. Let's go ahead and start playing forward to see what happens as it goes forward throughout tonight. So you see it filling in. We'll see kind of what happens. Definitely taking the path that we see the models predicting. Again, this is kind of like AI. It's just the future predictions of what will happen. This is not the actual radar I showed earlier. So this is kind of what's going on. This only goes up until a certain point on Sunday. Um, yeah, to 9 p.m. So we'll have to wait and see what it does for the next few days as it pushes into Monday. That is fun to see. So I would say pretty accurate to the models. It is interesting, kind of showing snow lingering over there in Colorado and Kansas. Not sure if that will necessarily be the case here. Time will tell and show, but definitely kind of fun to watch. Let's look at the precipitation type rate. This is Euro. So if we're looking at Saturday midnight, The blue is snow, pink is ice, green is rain. So you definitely see the low pressure kind of sitting over there in the, oh, what is the word for it I'm thinking of? Foothills of Colorado. And then you see also into Kansas. So we'll kind of see what happens with that, but that's kind of thinking what's going on. I do think it might be a little bit more extended out east a little bit than that, but time will tell. If we look at for again Saturday at midnight, the precipitation typed by the GFS, very similar to the Euro. Again, this zone does have a little bit more out east. I do think we'll see a little bit more out east. I definitely think we'll see more snow in this region for both of these than what the model runs are showing. Total freezing rain. This is the GFS, so it does show freezing rain happening over there in the western panhandle of Texas, southwest panhandle of Texas, and a little bit including into New Mexico. And then, of course, it continues to build in. I wanted to show the probabilistic winter precipitation guidance. This is for the next 24 hours. So as you can see, it's showing where they're thinking will happen. So the highest will obviously be Kansas, Oklahoma, uh, Missouri, and northern Arkansas would have the highest chances from 95 to 90%. 70% for good areas surrounding it. You do see lower chances in Utah and Arizona. Um, New Mexico has a part of it into like the 80% chance. Obviously, the Rocky Mountains and Colorado having a pretty high chance. You also see some higher chances of snow over there in the Great Lakes, and then of course right off the coast of New England over here. Okay, if we look at it for Sunday, we can see that it definitely expands out so that 95 to 90% chance definitely grows, kind of going up into the Ohio Valley. So from Missouri to Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, DC definitely have the highest chance. So it is looking a little bit better for North Carolina and South Carolina here, at least for the snow accumulation. We'll have to look and see what it shows for ice, which we'll be pulling up right after this. Let's go ahead and see what it's showing for 18C, UTC Monday. And again, the highest chances again being over there in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and New England come Monday at 6 p.m. So very similar to the guidance that we have been seeing being ran by the models. We'll have to wait to see how close the actual storm tracks in those ways and who does get more snow than others. But it's always kind of fun to see that. Let's move what maps I created previously. So as you can see, this is kind of the area where we're thinking everything blue would be more than 1 inch, or no, less than 1 inch up to 6 inches. The yellow would be 6 to 12 inches. So it would be 6 inches to a foot of snow. I do feel like this is pretty accurate what we're seeing the National Weather Service also predicts. And then for ice, I will say mine might need to be adjusted a little bit. I do think ice probabilities are probably a little bit more up this way than necessarily right here. The pink is for 0.01 to 0.75, and then purple is 0.75 to up to 2 inches of ice. So luckily a very small region is thought to have more of the detrimental ice forming compared to elsewhere, but still, as you guys know, and if you've lived in areas where you don't typically get snow and ice, you can know even a little bit of ice can really kind of throw your town for a loop and shut you down. It's reasonable to think that, like I said, a big chunk of the country will be shutting down early into next week because, it won't be safe to drive, fly, anything like that. Transport won't be able to get in to deliver shipments. So it's definitely why, even if you're not in the threat of the snow or ice in the system, you still want to make sure you are prepared for the lingering effects of it. And then also on the topic of ice accumulation impacts, as you can see, anything from 0.50 on up is definitely detrimental. So again, we do know some areas will get it. And then the less ice you have, the better. Obviously, 25 to 50 was also 0.25 to 0.50 is also pretty bad. If you get 0.25 and less, that's really, I mean, if ideal would be not to get ice, but if you're going to have to get ice, you don't want that amount or less. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but this is what people are facing this weekend. Now, I'm not sure some of you guys have been hearing talks about, again, um, having a possible another far south reaching possible snow and ice storm as we've seen for the past 2 weeks. So let's go ahead and see what the models are showing. So we're looking at midnight. This is GFS at midnight for Tuesday the 27th. And showing more snow up there into Canada and the northern part of the country. See, okay, you see some of the south filling in with more snow by Friday, January 30th of next week. Um, building, okay, so there's more snow building in over here. Go this way, so definitely looks like some similar snowfall is what we're seeing this weekend. Could be happening. Okay, it goes a little bit further east and south. Okay, again, showing more snow. Now, if you remember this time last week, the models were kind of showing this for this Winter Storm Fern. Obviously, that's not what's happening in Winter Storm Fern, so there's reason to believe that this very well may not pan out. We may not see snow falling this far south and east. It's something we'll have to continue to monitor. Anyone promising you will see snow on the beaches again, expect snow and ice, expect something bigger and worse. We just don't have enough information. We're still pretty far out. I mean, this would literally be about a week away from now. This is for noon Saturday, January 31st over here, and it's just too early to know. If you've seen my videos from earlier from this week, as I was letting you guys know, even then, like Monday of this week and Tuesday, we just didn't have enough information of knowing what to expect. Well, Winter Storm Fern, so I would say again, we just don't know enough about what could happen this upcoming weekend. There is obviously some, trends. If it keeps trending this way and doesn't change and shift as we've seen the models done this week with Winter Storm Fern, obviously, we'll become more aware and vigilant over that. But right now, think of this as merely as entertainment. We'll have to kind of wait and see what happens. Let's keep going in. So, UK, Sunday, February 1st, definitely more snow building in. I mean, this is crazy showing upstate South Carolina up to possibly 19 inches. Now, again, I would say don't pay too much mind and attention to the amounts you see on here. This is a model run and this is a GFS, but it is showing that, there could be signals that something like this could happen, maybe to a smaller effect than what Winter Storm Fern's going to bring, or maybe more, but it's too early to know. And then, of course, for Virginia, uh, and Mid Atlantic getting slammed pretty hard there with some higher amounts of snow. Middle Georgia up to 9 inches, possibly Dallas 14, Oklahoma 18. Not things you see too often. So let's keep going. We're just going to take this all the way to the end. More snow building into central Texas and out into West Texas. Again, would be pretty unusual to see that happen. And more snow building out west. Um, Midnight, February 8th. Let's see, and just seeing more snow. So it's just taking us to 12 o'clock noon, Sunday, February 8th. So again, right now it's too early to tell. Let's go all the way back to next weekend. I wouldn't pay too much mind or attention to this. Some people are going to hype this up, obviously, because it's what gets clicks, what gets the views. Right now, we just don't have enough information. Again, so like I said earlier this week, we just don't know where the storm could hit. We don't know how powerful the storm it could be. We don't know how much precipitation of any type, from snow, rain to sleet to ice. We just don't know that right now. So don't pay too much mind and attention to it. It's something we'll continue to watch. Make sure that you do follow a trusted weather source. I will be continuing to be posting updates all throughout this week leading up to next week to see what happens, or next weekend, I should say, and we'll continue to monitor. But for now, let's focus on what we do know, which is Winter Storm Fern is happening. And then I wanted to show you guys also the Euro version of it as well, because we'll see how much it is similar to GFS. So this is 3 a.m. Tuesday, January 27th. So we'll keep going. Okay, Wednesday, not seeing anything too crazy. See some snow showers over there in Minnesota and Iowa. Kind of pushing down to the mid-Atlantic, mid-South by Thursday. So we see some snow off the coast of the Mid-Atlantic area by Friday. Okay, so we're seeing some snow and moisture coming up from central Texas come 6 p.m. next Friday, January 30th. Okay, it's moving east, moving closer to Dallas. Okay, see some snow and ice over there in the Houston area, which would be pretty unusual. And just see cold rain over there in Florida and off the coast of Georgia come Monday. Okay, see some snow in coastal Georgia and a little bit into more inland areas. Mostly just rain for Florida. See some ice thrown in there by February 2nd. Going into the Savannah area and Hilton Head, some ice and snow. Not a whole lot of either. Again, mostly just rain February 3rd. And then, okay. So both are indicating some snow or ice possibility for next weekend. Again, nothing that's too crazy. Euro is definitely not as bad as the GFS, which again, I feel like I said this earlier about Winter Storm Fern, and even leading up to this, that we do know, unfortunately, the GFS is quite ambitious with its model run of wanting to bring the worst of everything all the time. It throws um, phantom hurricanes all the time, phantom powerful hurricanes all the time during hurricane season. So if it does that for that, why couldn't it do it for the snow? So again, we just don't know. We'll have to monitor and wait and see. But in the meantime, I'll keep you guys updated. Please like and share and comment below. Let me know where you guys are located and what you're experiencing right now, if you're experiencing Winter Storm Fern. And I will be posting more updates throughout the weekend. Thank you.